Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're going to go over some tips and things you need to know for fishing swim jigs. It is getting into heavy summertime, a lot of grass, a lot of vegetation starting to grow around the edges of ponds, lakes, pretty much everywhere. This is where it starts to get really thick, and a swim jig is one of the best ways to fish through grass, through vegetation, and still really get nice bites. You know, a spinner bait is one of the things I think of when I'm fishing around like loose, light grass, things like that. But when it gets too thick, you can't really run those blades through there. So the swim jig is a perfect alternative. Same thing with crankbaits, can't get those through the grassy areas. So we're gonna show you why you need to have some swim jigs, and then also the types of little things that are gonna help your swim bait experience and get more fish in the boat. Let's get to fishing.
It's a little Grass Hero jig. I believe it's a 3/8 ounce is what it looks like. Yep, 3/8 ounce. A little white color, some chartreuse. This water's pretty dirty, but it's not completely dirty. Saucy swimmer trailer, which I know these guys, Rackley likes to throw craws, and I mean, you can throw a bunch of different things on swim jigs as a trailer. That's the beauty of it. Very versatile bait. Slow it down, speed it up. I personally like the paddle tail swim bait, the saucy swimmer, but personal preference, and at the end of the day, just put on there what the bass want, and they'll tell you pretty quickly if they like what you're throwing or if they don't. Swim jigger. This guy's pulling too. Look at that.
That's a nice one.
That's a nice fish. Swim jig fish right here,
There's a
kids.
good one. Oh my gosh.
Look at the head on that thing.
That's a great fish. Look at the belly. The belly's more impressive.
Look at that football right there. Good God. Look at that. Choked. That swim jig right there. Look at that. Just absolutely massacred it. This thing is as wide as it is long. Whew. Swim jigs out here doing what they do. Catching fish. Gotta love it.
So what makes a swim jig a swim jig? Because technically you can take any jig and you can swim it and catch fish, but a swim jig should be able to come through the vegetation really good. So one of the first things you're going to want to have is an inline line tie. So the grass is going to go around the head of the bait. You want something that the head shape is going to penetrate through the grass as well. So, you know, like a casting jig will clump up in the grass. It just wouldn't be as good. Another thing you're going to want is a lighter weed guard. So typically on a jig you're going to see heavy weed guards for fishing in heavy brush, and you're going to have to set the hook really hard. Not so much with a swim jig. You can literally just keep reeling and get the fish because of this light weed guard. So this is the Grass Hero right here. This is the Googan Squad Grass Hero. So we collaborated with Catchco on this to make it, and it is a fantastic swim jig. It's got all those elements I just talked about, plus it's got a double plastic keeper on it to keep whatever trailer you're putting on in place. It's got a hand-tied great skirt. We got a lot of great colors, and if you forget what kind of weight you're throwing, it's always listed right on the bottom. So if you get on a bite like, oh man, they're really biting that quarter, where's my quarters at? It's always listed right there, so it makes it really easy for you. So on the topic of trailers, you can throw a bunch of different kinds, but I'm just going to throw a Crack and Craw Junior on here. So rig it up, you know, I matched it up like that. One thing you want to make sure your skirt is not interfering with the moving action of your plastic. So if it is, just trim your skirt up a little bit and then you should be fine. I've already done that on this one, so it's good to go.
What's so crazy is you guys put the size on the freaking jig, and the fact that that had never been done before. It's pretty incredible.
Close.
Hey buddy, what are you doing? What are you up to these days? Nothing? Hanging out? Eating? I hear that. Choked it once again. Swim jig just gone. See, for me, they're hitting it on the paws, and that's one thing I like to do with a swim jig or any bait really in the summertime, is just kind of add more pauses into it. Doubles.
Gone.
Doubles.
There's a yonder. So this is just such a cool bait, because normally where you would, like, I think of it as a spinner bait, you kind of fish it the same way. You just retrieve it and you're getting those same sorts of bites. It even looks like it. you know, spinnerbait without an arm. Think of it that way. But me personally, how I like to fish it, I like a little bit softer rod, so I'm throwing this on a 7-foot medium power rod. Normally you think of jigs, throwing a little bit heavier, but with that really sharp hook and the light weed guard, you can just pull up and you've got them. And I like to use braid, 20 to 30 pound braided line. Comes through the grass phenomenally, and you can also get a lot more action on your bait. So I like to use a softer rod and then twitch it as you're reeling it in, and you'll get a lot more action.
Look at that. That jig's just gone. Man, this is a fun bite right here. Bye-bye. He's not. Woo!
Just a little guy. Fun size though. Let's go. Get a big one in here. Sometimes when you're reeling a swim jig through pads, you can just go right over the top, and it'll come through there, and they'll bust it off kind of like a frog. So that's one of the beauties of fishing these, is you can throw it straight through the nasty stuff, still come through and have good action. It's a great backup for a frog too. Like if you're on a frog bite, sun comes out, they get off of it a little bit. Oh, I got one coming towards it. This is a good alternative. You can fish it just right below the pads if you're just being a little finicky, and you can still get those fish. So in the lake we're at today, it is just covered with grass. It's starting to mat up at the surface. And so we've been fishing the lily pads, but there's also big amounts of grass flats that have little slots in them, little gaps. So that's another way you can fish the swim jig, is through straight over the grass. It just comes right through there. There we go.
Got him.
Ooh, we got a screamer, dude.
Holy moly.
Just a little guy, but he had some authority. There we go. This is probably hard to make out, but there is a hard grass line right here. Right, that's right where that bass came off of. Right on that edge. Just like you would throw a bladed jig. Oh, Matt's got a good one there. That's a good one.
Nice. Another
bladed jig.
Football.
On that prototype clickbait coming out soon. Out here in that scattered grass. Chunky one.
Proudly stand up. Oh God! Oh, there we go. That's a big one.
That's a monster. You want me to land it for you?
Oh gosh, this is a hog. Yeah, might need a cease fish. They're nasty. Dude, look at that!
Look at that mouthful jig. Let's go.
Look at that right there. I think we're going to end it on just a solid toad right there. Right on that grass line. Again, I was swimming it. It was kind of thick, and then as soon as the grass line fell, I dropped it, paused it, and wah, bam. Look at that fish. Beautiful yellow belly grass fish. Awesome. Let this fish go. Get you some Grass Heroes. Link down below. I'm going to recommend 1/4 ounce and 3/8 if you're fishing like really shallow. We make them a little heavier as well. And then, you know, just play around with trailers. Play around with your favorite trailers for your body of water. But man, woo! I love catching grass fish. We'll see y'all on the next one.